Somebody introduce themselves.
Oh,
Yeah, we started.
hello, my name is Jason.
I'm Cody.
And Ramon.
And I'm Miriam.
And I'm Dave. Anyway. Alright, so who here plays Halo? You, okay. You play Call of Duty as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, how do you think that these troops out here on the battlefield got all their extra supplies and equipment they needed when they ran out?
Never asked.
Never asked. Well, the game developers did that. But that doesn't work like that in real life. In real life, this is how it works. It's an airdrop. Now, some of you guys know I was a rigger for 10 years, and I had the privilege of rigging live loads to training loads to humanitarian loads. So today I'm going to speak to you guys about the airdrop systems and their roles in the military. There's different types of systems out there, but I'm only going to go over the three mainly used ones, which are low velocity, high velocity, and free drop. First, we'll start with the largest and most variant of the three, which is low velocity. Now, in the Dash 11, low velocity is defined as the delivery of supplies and equipment from an aircraft in flight using cargo parachutes. Now, these cargo parachutes, there's two types that we use, and they give the load a low rate of descent, hence low velocity. So here's one of them. It's the G11. To give you an idea of how big that is, there's 12 of them hooked up to this load, and that little load being suspended right there is a 60K. Well, simulated, it's not actual 60K, but simulated 60K. So you can imagine how big that parachute would be. Then we got the G12. There's only two of them hooked up. This little load right here looks like it's about an 8-foot platform. To give you another idea of how big the G12s are, here's the AT, a bunch of trees, and then you kind of see the parachute hanging over the trees. So we all know how big the AT is, and so you kind of get a gist of how big that G12 is. Now, the altitude that these loads are dropped at is based on the quantity and types of parachutes used. You'll find that in the Dash 5. Now, the types and quantity of parachutes used for these loads will differ between each specific rigging manual for the particular type of load that you're rigging up. Now, the equipment that we use when we rig low velocity airdrops are heavy platforms and CDS. Now, the heavy platform is a Type 5 airdrop platform, aka heavy. So whenever you're out there, you hear someone say a heavy, this is what we're talking about. And it's a component assembly constructed of aluminum, and it's used to drop loads between 2,500 and 60,000 pounds. You can find that at armedforces-int.com. Now, these heavies are used for items such as large vehicles, equipment, and even ammunition on a large scale, and you can find that in the Dash 8. I'll give you an example. Here's a heavy rigged up with a vehicle. Now, of course, we're not going to drop this vehicle. This was just a little joke that we played on one of our kernels, and plus it's the wrong sized platform as well. But it was just as a joke. Now, this is your typical unilateral airdrop training load, which most of us in our career field, this is what we would see if we were in the rigging section. Now you got your CDS, and as you can see, they're smaller than the heavies, so they can drop the same type of items, but on a much smaller scale. Now here's another picture of some CDS on the side of the C-17, but as you can see, the parachutes on these are a lot smaller than the ones in the previous picture. That's because these are 26-foot high-velocity parachutes, which brings us to our next subject, which is high-velocity airdrop. Now the Dash 11 defines this one as the delivery of supplies and cargo in an aircraft in flight using stabilizing parachutes. Now there's two types of stabilizing parachutes. One is a 12-foot and one is a 26-foot high V. Now these give the load a high rate of descent, hence high velocity. See that? Okay. Now the types of parachutes that you're going to use on these CDS is definitely going to depend on the weight of the load, plus when you look at the specific rigging manual for whatever you're rigging up, it'll tell you which one and how many to use. To give you an example, this is a 26-foot high V hanging out to dry. And this is that same one before we hung it up to dry. Give you an idea of how big it is. And that back there is a G12, and it's stretched out, getting ready to be packed up. Now here's a bunch of high V CDS coming out the back of the C-17. And as you can see, all that parachute is going to do is just stabilize it and keep it upright as it comes down. Now here's some more coming out of the C-17, and as you can see, I don't know if you can really see it or not, but these are actually rocket launchers being dropped. So hence all the honeycomb, which is used to cushion the load as it comes down, because you don't want the rockets going off when they land. But in the specific ring manual for these, it'll tell you what to use. So now that we've talked about heavies and CDS, the high and low velocity, we talked to you a little bit about the newest and the best system I think that's out there, which is the JPAD system, which is Joint Precision Airdrop System. Now this system is part of the low velocity system, and it's a joint effort between the Army and the Air Force. Now this system allows for the most consistently and accurate airdrop because it utilizes a machine that guides the parachutes using GPS coordinates. That comes helpful because it keeps the airplanes out of harm's way, because now you can drop them from 25,000 feet. You can find out without nail. Here's an example of a CDS rebuild. And you can see this little machine right here is the one that guides the parachute that's on top of it. Here's a picture of one on the way down to the ground. You can see here's one set of risers, another set of risers. Now this system is awesome, I think, because it keeps this from happening, which is an off DZ or drop zone drop. And that sucks whenever you don't get it to the drop zone, because you're stuck out there, as you can see, getting all this stuff up. And who wants to go looking for the stuff that they need right now? So now that we've talked about the airdrop systems using parachutes, we're going to talk about the ones that don't use parachutes. And that's known as free drop. And in the Dash 11, it defines free drop as delivery of certain non-fragile items of supply from an aircraft in flight without the use of parachutes. Now these items can range from food rations to clothing, etc. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any pictures of anything being booted out the back of the plane, so I don't have any examples to show you. I apologize for that. So, we've covered that there are different types of airdrop systems. We only went over the three mainly used ones, which are low velocity, high velocity, and free drop. And I even told you a little bit about the new JPAD system, which I believe to be the best one out there. So the next time you're sitting there playing Call of Duty, you're trying to get that one-shot kill, remember there's something better that you could be doing, like rigging your colonel's car for airdrop. Thank you.
Good.